Welcome back, wanderers of the heart, to a place where feelings are charted like constellations and secrets surface like tides, our familiar haven, your trusted refuge, the safe shore where we breathe together between headlines and hush. Settle in, because what we're about to unpack has turned the Turkish entertainment scene on its axis. This isn't a passing whisper, not a shadow flitting across a wall. It's the sound of a sealed door opening at last, a carefully guarded truth stepping into daylight after years of quiet, patient breath. Before we loosen the final knot on this ribbon of revelation, a small request that keeps our lantern burning. Tap that like to support deep, empathetic storytelling. Subscribe to Turkish series stars so you never miss the subtle pulses of your favorites' lives. And, if you want to be part of our inner circle, the join button is there, a key to the room where we gather for exclusive, heartfelt extras. Ready to hear a secret finally exhale? The story owning every coffee break and group chat today, the one that floated through corridors as rumor but refused to be pinned down, has burst, unmistakable and clear. The discreet, fiercely protected bond between Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu has left the shadows and learned the shape of sunlight. Yes, that pair whose chemistry has dazzled screens for years has chosen, with impeccable timing and a quiet kind of courage, to welcome the world into a space they once kept sacredly private. And with that choice came a wave of tender, unexpected details that surprised even the most seasoned followers, the ones who thought they could read every unspoken line. The impact? Seismic. The conversation isn't just about the who. It's the how, the for how long, the artistry of concealment in an era that devours privacy. Barış and Elçin, two icons instinctively allergic to noise, managed the near impossible. They nurtured a bond away from the glare, out of the reach of restless lenses, for far longer than anyone dared to guess. Then, almost overnight, the curtain dropped, revealing a masterpiece of restraint. To understand the depth of this moment, you have to look back and see where each of them stood in their private and professional journeys. Barış Arduç, sculpted by discipline and a reputation for showing up to the work with a calm, grounded presence, let his roles do the talking. He rarely fanned sparks in the media, his silence was its own eloquence. Facing him across the chessboard of fate, Elçin Sangu, luminous and composed, always kept her inner world wrapped in a calm that made people lean closer, trying to catch the things she chose not to say. Place these two deliberate spirits side by side, discreet, intuitive, observant, and the tiniest hint of connection becomes a magnetic field. This wasn't a tabloid meet-cute. It was two layered inner worlds quietly aligning. And now, the threads everyone craved to see are finally visible enough to trace. What's come to light suggests we're not looking at a sudden spark, not a love letter written yesterday. This was a story writing itself in slow ink, under our noses. Those signals you clocked, the ones you weren't sure you should take seriously? The looks that hovered a breath longer than expected on crowded nights. The social posts whose timing was too serendipitous to be mere coincidence. The mirrored moods in interviews months apart. In hindsight, the mosaic forms itself. There were evenings designed with surgical care so only the most devoted observers could read the map. There were weekends that looked like parallel routines until someone, with a forensic eye, noticed the same sea-bent wind in two separate shots, hours apart. And yes, the radiator. A bright room with white curtains in one post, a different angle of another room in a separate share. Only now do we catch that identical vintage radiator huddled in the corner, as if blushing at the scene it had witnessed. The timeline stretches back, and suddenly the ease between them at public events, the way it felt not staged but lived, makes perfect sense. It wasn't performance, it was familiarity humming underneath. How did they hold something so delicate together in a world where a smartphone is a satellite and every step can be traced? That, honestly, inspires awe. They moved with the precision of choreography, departures minutes apart, separate cars breathing through backstreets, staggered arrivals at gatherings, favorite meeting spots chosen only when the city was down to its quietest heartbeat. Around them, a fortress of trust, friends and colleagues who understood that some boundaries are sacred and treated them as such. They danced through misdirection with elegance. Playful exchanges in public kept within a line that looked nostalgic, professional, never revealing the current that surged beneath. They didn't disappear, they learned how to live like real people in a world that rewards performance for its own sake. Are you savoring the care and craft in this reconstruction? If this kind of tender detective work speaks to you, show it by subscribing to Turkish series stars. Your support lights our path, keeps our questions honest, and lets us bring these layered stories to your screen with love. Now to the heart of it, the spark. Industry whispers have drifted for years, drifting so long they became a legend told in dressing rooms and edit bays. The most believable origin story is unassuming. They met through work, as so many do, and before anyone could name it, a bedrock trust settled in. Conversations about scripts doubled as therapy sessions for choice and risk. They debated fears of being typecast, traded favorite scenes, swapped songs that said the things words refused to carry. Respect arrived first, laughter close behind, and soon that closeness stood up on its own 2 feet. Those who know them insist the pull was never just skin deep, it was curiosity, the way they recorded tiny details about each other's inner rhythm, and a gentle instinct to protect. With the truth finally breathing in open air, every small moment fans had squirreled away in their memories now glows with new light. Warm red carpet greetings that felt a shade cozier than formality allows. Photos from far-flung places where the sun slanted in the same glossy tone. Interviews where one name softened the other's eyes. The board is set, the pattern of clues is clear, and it was there all along, hiding in plain sight. What has surfaced isn't scandal but texture. Late-night calls about roles that slipped through their fingers or the ones that scared them enough to matter. Boundaries made and kept. Weekend cooking that failed spectacularly and ended with tears of laughter. Promises to stand in the doorway when the other faced a professional cliff. A thread particularly revealing. Friends say it was Elçin who kept nudging Barış toward riskier, more layered parts, the kind that stretch an actor past comfort, while Barış was the anchor when the glare went harsh, reminding her of the craft itself, the reasons she fell in love with the work. That kind of mutual mentorship is rare. Under spotlights, the world saw charisma, behind doors, they practiced devotion. The response online? Immediate, thunderous, achingly sweet. Feeds flooded with surprise, with joy, with the chorus of I knew it believers who finally let themselves say it out loud. It isn't only the delight of seeing 2 beloved figures claim happiness, it's the relief that what felt so true wasn't a mirage. Fan nicknames re-emerged, tags ran wild, and a single sentiment soared above the rest, as long as they're at peace, we're cheering. What does a revelation like this do to the road stretching before them? In everyday terms, it reframes the picture. The attention will swell, the spotlight will thrum. That focus can be harnessed. Partnerships may feel more organic. A shared project can be framed as a celebration rather than a gamble. But what matters to the soul of the story is the liberty they've granted themselves, the right to exist without the exhausting choreography of secrecy. That freedom becomes creative oxygen. Choices get bolder when you're not saving your breath for cover. And why now? What tipping point pressed this into the open? Perhaps time simply did its gentle work. After seasons of tending a private sanctuary, maybe it felt small to lock joy away. Perhaps their personal chapter demanded clarity. Or, the explanation romantics reach for, they woke one morning and realized their bond was sturdy enough to stand in the gale of a million eyes. Insiders describe their current rhythm with a sweetness that's hard to fake. Barış is the architect of simple comforts. A meal cooked at home with music humming low, a late-night walk when the sidewalks are empty and honest, a habit of closing the day with quiet gratitude. Elçin brings the untamed spark. Let's catch that small gallery before it closes. Let's try a cafe hidden in a street we never cross. Let's loop this song until it becomes the week's heartbeat. Together, they turn ordinary minutes into the kind of memories that outlast gold confetti. We've traced how they kept the bond safe, how whispers dissolved into evidence, how fans met the news with a pulse of love, and how this sunlight might shape what we'll see from them on screen. The portrait that emerges is not scandal but sincerity, two people who chose silence until the silence could open its hands and offer them to the world. This is your reminder that tenderness still finds rooms to grow, even under the tallest lights. So tell us. How do you feel about a love protected this fiercely? Did it shock you, or did your heart already know? Share your thoughts in the comments, your voice guides us. If this journey through careful secrecy and brave clarity moved you, leave a like, send it to a friend who needs a little hope, and don't forget to subscribe to Turkish series stars. Thank you for listening, and remember, some of the quietest chapters end with the most resonant confessions. Until the next story.